What was I gonna ask you? So what stage are you at right now? Because you said that you're like doing trading and um you're doing trading, but you're also doing this stuff. Like what where you kind of at? You're also 16, so you're in high school, I'm assuming?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm on summer break right now, and I kind of do like three different things. So what I'm doing is I started off copywriting, and I saw those people online. They're like, write emails, reach out to a couple people, make thousands of dollars a month, and I rode
Yeah.
that hype train, and I kind of realized that wasn't gonna work pretty early on.
Yeah.
But I was like, I still see the potential in this. I saw like the potential and like how I could help someone get more sales or like just that general aspect, that general idea business.
Correct.
So I went on from there. I kept reaching out and I realized I was doing something wrong. So then I kind of switched up the way I was doing it and I managed to land a few clients, right? So
Oh
those are the
yeah.
people I'm working with right now. That's where all of my income is coming from. So it's like these three or four different clients. I'm just copywriting for them. I'm kind of
Cool.
helping with some go high level back end stuff too,
Nice.
right?
And
So,
and where are
sorry.
you at right now in terms of revenue wise?
So as for my SMMA or like that general idea,
Yeah, like yeah.
uh, for the marketing side, like my marketing agency, I'm actually, I'm in the hole like $30.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm in the hole, but I actually do have a couple meetings lined up today.
Dude,
So I
that's
have
fine, bro.
yeah, so
That's fine,
it,
dude.
it's nice as well, right? Because from the copywriting people, I'm making about like 1.5 to 2 grand a month. So that's kind of like funding all the stuff that I'm doing right now.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it, dude. I mean, like
Dude, that's
I
awesome, bro. You're 16.
I mean, the main reason that I'm trying to switch to an SMMA is I feel like it's not as much active work, right? Because I feel like when I'm running ads, it's once you get good at that skill, it's a much higher leverage skill than just being able to do copywriting. Because in
Yeah,
copywriting and this back end stuff, it's just do the work and get paid, right? Just
correct.
like straight up
The
time money.
the most important part about a marketing agency is really the relationship with the client, right? Because things are going to be good and things are going to go bad. Like it's normal, especially at the beginning. It's tougher, right? Someone who's never marketed before, or anything like that, like managing expectations is going to be good. Like not selling them a bill of goods that's like, hey, yeah, we're going to double your business in the next 30 days, because then you're lying to them. Because
Yeah,
there's just no way that if a company is doing 30 grand a month in revenue, that by spending 2K a month, you're gonna double that. Now, can it happen? The answer is yes. But is it likely to happen in the first 30 days? The answer is no. So the most important part is probably maintaining the relationships and then letting them know kind of where they're at in every stage of the process with you guys. Uh 1,500 to 2K a month is pretty sick, dude. At 16, it's a big deal.
thank
I,
you.
I think
I
that when you're
appreciate it.
in it, you probably don't think it's a big deal, but that's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it feels like when I'm doing the work, I'm like, man, this is so annoying. I want to like get out of here. I want to like,
Yeah, of course.
you know what I mean, right? But I think what you said is important, and that's something I struggle with too. So for setting expectations, I didn't really do a good job of that.
Yeah,
I don't even think I covered that for my first clients, right? I just
it's
told
gonna
them
happen.
like, I kind of just told them like, don't expect anything super, super crazy.
Yeah,
But like we're gonna do our best. We're gonna work super hard because I didn't have any results either, right? All I had was just
of
like,
course.
yeah, I helped people make money online. So that was like my only real standing somewhere.
Yeah. And
So
as you like, you're gonna learn how to run ads from other people, whether it's me or whoever else you watch on YouTube. And then you're gonna kind of like formulate your own system of like what works for you. Um, and when you have that, you're gonna have a better idea of like what the timelines look like. Like for us, we know that the first 30 days, we're going to be testing a lot of content, a lot of different ad copy, a lot of different audiences. So we know we tell people if you need money in the next 30 days for this to even work, then the answer is no, like don't work with us. Now it's harder at the beginning of business because you just want to take on as many clients as you can, right?
Right.
Um, but being more upfront early is gonna be better because you're gonna have way less shitty conversations with people.
Yeah.
Does that make
And then
sense?
it's not gonna be like you promise them stuff and then like they're like, yeah,
Yeah,
you said you were gonna get us this many leads, or like you said you're gonna do
correct.
this for us, and then it's like, yeah, but we are just testing or something like that, right?
Dude,
It's
you know what would be really good for you if you just hit up food trucks. Where do you
food
live? Like
trucks.
what area do you live in?
So I'm in Ohio, but
Nice.
I'm like outside of Cleveland. So I'm not in
Okay.
Cleveland. I'm like in one of the suburbs around it. So
Gotcha.
it's more of a it's not a small town, but it's
Smaller.
developed. Yeah, smaller. It's not big like
I
Cleveland,
gotcha.
but it's like developed, you know. It's like
That's
typical
cool.
suburban.
Yeah. Like if you just hit up food trucks, I think I told this story on one of my YouTube videos, but my first client ever was a food truck. And he's like, I was texting him this morning. We were friends in high school. We just so happened to be at a very like I had just left the business partnership with my friends and I was kind of finding my own avenue. He was starting a food truck. So I was like, hey, I'll run your ads for free until I figure it out. And we took him from 25K a month to 65K a month in 90 days out of one food truck. And it wasn't hard. Literally everything that I teach applies, right? uh the offer, I think that there's a video somewhere where I literally go over the exact offer. I think it was free fried Oreos that we started with. Um but long story short, that was 7 years ago. They'll do probably close to $8 million this year with 5 different locations. So they went from one food truck to 5 locations, and we've been working together ever since. The reason why I tell you to do that, to go towards the food truck route, is because, or to try it out rather, not just like dump everything that you're doing and go that route. Because it's gonna help you at the beginning, but really once you start scaling and you're like, hey, I kind of want to work with people who pay more because the food trucks are gonna be cheaper deals than, I don't know, an info space guy that needs help running ads at scale.
Yeah.
Um, but it's gonna be easier for you to get them results, especially if they've never ran ads before. Even if they're just boosting posts or whatever, it's gonna be really easy for you to show them results, and the results are going to be revenue growth. Like they can't be tied to, and this was a conversation that we had at the beginning, but it was like, I'm going to generate leads for you that are interested in a certain offer. You are going to measure it by people showing you the offer, if it's working or not. The second way that you're going to measure it is if revenue is going up, then it's working because your average for the last 6 months was 25 grand a month. So if that's your average for the last 6 months, if we climb every single month from here on out, it's going to be working. Like it's not a mistake if we start something and then the month after we're at 35 grand or 40 instead of 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
it's a little bit easier, and then you could like we started charging I think it was 750 bucks a month was like our first retainer.
okay. Now, I do have one question, right? When it comes to that. So I've tried helping restaurants in the past, or I've tried marketing with them, but that was restaurants. This wasn't food trucks. So they told me that they have very, very thin margins.
They
So like
do.
they don't have the budget to. So I actually went to two restaurants in person,
Yeah.
and like so I went out to like multiple of them, but I got a meeting with two of them, and I offered them like a very, very cheap offer. It was like something like 400 or 500 bucks a month,
Yep.
and I would do like a ton of different stuff things for them, right? But the problem with one of them was his prices were already so low, he couldn't even really give out an offer, right? And the other guys, they just didn't have the margin within their business. Do you think that's different with food trucks? Like, do you think they have a little bit more like area to kind of
Well,
go
they have less operating costs than a restaurant does, right? Like think of a restaurant, they have probably a decent amount of rent. They have employees that they have to pay, but like more employees than a food truck because only 3, 4 people fit in a food truck. Um, if they have, yeah, like they got bigger kitchens, they have more tables, they have so many more expensive than what a food truck has. So it might be more beneficial to go that route. We went into the restaurant industry, and we had a decent amount of clients in the restaurant industry in Miami, and it went well, but the same things come up, right? Which is why these hospitality groups, that when you try to get into the bigger restaurants, these hospitality groups, they run their own marketing. They have their own marketing divisions, I guess, in their companies. But yeah, food trucks I think would be the strongest part. And if someone nudges on you, like, dude, you're young. The one thing that you have the most of right now is time, right? Like you don't got to pay bills. You don't got to, I mean, I don't know what your situation is, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
but
if you do have to pay bills, they're not a lot, right? You're 16.
yeah.
So like you have a lot of time on your hands. So I would just, hey, if they budge at 500 bucks a month, well, let's do this. I'm gonna work for free for the next 30 days.
Right.
And you have to sell them on building a contact list,
Yeah,
because none of
that's a
these
hard
guys
thing to
have
do.
contact lists. So like one of the things that I used to tell, food truck owners and restaurant owners is like, well, if you get in a car crash right now, you pull out your phone and you have what, 150 people that you could call to come help you. Maybe realistically, you have like maybe 10, 15 people that can actually go and help you. Well, if your restaurant sales are down on a Wednesday and you need people to come in, like who do you call? You have no one to call. But if you send out a text, go high level, right? If you send out an email and you get these people in through an offer on a Wednesday, now you could kind of patch that band-aid and then do that with the slower days. So it's easier to pitch it that way. I actually left the restaurant scene because of issues like that. We're like, oh, we don't got money, we don't got this, we don't got that. But when you're young and you're trying to get your grounding and you're learning your foundation of like how I'm going to operate with clients, how I'm going to meet with them, how I'm going to structure their accounts, all that stuff. I think it's a really good way to get going. And then that way it gives you kind of like a backbone to jump into other things.
Yeah. I mean,
You know what I mean?
wait, yeah, that example you gave is really good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, even with like the people who are gonna come close to you, or like the actual like 10 or 15 people that could help you, it's like the same way. That's the people that actually respond, right?
Yeah, of
Most of them are,
course.
but some people will. And the other thing I had a question with, right? So I don't mean just like jump topics, but
That's fine.
kind of related to this. Did you charge a retainer up front, right? So you said like work for free for a month, or like maybe like if they won't budge, whatever it might be, right? So
Yeah.
I get that. But so I feel like right now a lot of people have either been burned, or like a lot of the people I've been talking to just in my industry, they feel like, hey, I've already tried this, or like I'm already doing this, like I don't need
Yeah.
it, or they just don't trust it, right? And like that's natural.
Yeah.
So I've been going in with a pay per lead offer. Do you think it's better to do like, because the offer is right now, it's like a one-time setup fee, which is basically just cover my butt. I don't want to get charged for go high level. And
Correct.
then the rest of it is like just pay per lead. I don't have like a retainer or anything. Do you think that's worth doing right now? Or do you think I should at least have like some sort of retainer? Just to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that at scale it's kind of tougher to work that way, right? Like if you're thinking about growing the company and having employees and having all that stuff, it's really tough to grow that way. Um, Mainly because you're gonna start getting into conversations where it's like, well, you sent me 10 leads and like really five of them are good and actually interested, and then you're gonna run into issues where people are paying late, right? Because, oh, well, we got you 15 leads this week and we're charging 50 bucks a lead, whatever it might be, or 20 bucks a lead, whatever. Um, then that's where it's gonna get iffy because they might not want to pay you on certain things, which is why retainer is kind of the backbone of this industry. If you really want to have like a sexy offer, you could do something like, well, we'll do a $500 a month retainer, whatever, and then do a percentage of the deals that they close.
Because that's what I started off with the roofing clients. I just said, hey, we'll just do a percentage of the deal that you close, like not even a retainer, not even a setup fee. That was probably really not that smart on my end, but I kind of learned from that now. Like I should probably do some sort of setup fee. I should probably do some sort
Yeah.
of retainer.
There's this weird space where if you're too cheap, they won't trust you.
Yep.
But if you're too expensive, they won't want to do business with you. So you kind of have to figure out the in between part. And you're also working in a local market, which is also a little bit tougher when you're talking to people across the states, maybe someone in a big city. Because like $500 a month to someone in a big city isn't the same as $500 to someone 30 minutes, 45 minutes outside of Cleveland, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
just giving you perspective. Um, so that might also have to do with it. One thing that you mentioned was that you're doing the trading, you're also doing the agency, like you're doing a handful of things. If I were to recommend one thing, and this is regardless if you go agency route or trading route, whatever, I don't have a dog in the race. Um, like hyper focus on one thing. Unless trading's making you a lot of money, right? If trading's making you a lot of money, then oh yeah, dude, go for it. But there's this thing called shiny object syndrome. Have you heard of it?
I've I've fallen victim to it.
Yeah. I mean,
It
dude, it's regular. You're 16 years old and you're just getting rolling. Like sometimes I deal with it nowadays. Even within like the agency space. Oh, like, well, what if I try to hit that niche? Or what if I try to hit that niche?
yeah,
Um, but there's a lot of power in just focusing on one thing. And like if trading is successful for you, then maybe that's the avenue, right? But if you're seeing success with this, or you see just more longevity, because trading is very stressful. You do it every day, you're looking at it, you have good days, you have really bad days, all this stuff. I mean, they both have their pros and cons. Um, One, you don't have to talk to people, right? Like trading, like you don't have to have clients, like you don't have to manage clients and manage people's money, which is also stressful. But if you focus on one thing and one thing only, the odds of you succeeding are a lot higher, especially if you start at a young age. Like you're 16. Imagine when you graduate, like you could have a full-blown business by the time you graduate. And I don't know if you want to go to college or not, but then that's up in the air too, right? Like you have
yeah.
that opportunity. And if you don't want to go to college, but your parents want you to go to college, well, it's like, well, I'm making 30 grand a month running my agency. There's no value in me going to college if this is what I'm going to focus on. Like you have leverage in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean that's one of my driving factors. Like in the back of my mind, I'm like, dude, I gotta make this work. You know, I wanna be able to like show them because it's easy to say like, I don't need to go to college. I can just do a business or like something
Yeah,
like
of
that,
course,
right?
but nobody's going to trust you. It's because
Exactly
there's no
right.
structure in business, right? There's no curriculum. There's no, oh, you do 4 years, you graduate, you get a job. Like there's none of that in business.
It's a lot of
Like
just like flatlining, then boom, you got your break, right? I
up and
mean,
downs, a lot of
yep.
up and downs. But the truth is um, like in the ups and downs, when you're at the top, meaning you're generating revenue and like things are going great, like everything feels easy when you're at the top because of all the work that you put in when shit's not going the best. So as long as you understand that and know that like, oh well, if shit's going south right now, it only lasts for a little bit because all the work that I'm doing now is going to pay off. All the cold outreach, all the prospecting, all the dials, the bookings, all this stuff that you're doing now, the hard times with the ads, like it's all going to pay off. Excuse me. And if you just keep on telling yourself that, then it's way easier said than done, obviously. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but you're in a cool position, dude. At 16, I wasn't even remotely close to this. I remember I had a buddy of mine, which actually owns two restaurants now. When we were in high school, would tell me, I'd ask him all the time, like, oh, what do you want to do with like, oh, what do you want to study in school? Like all this stuff. Because my mom was a teacher. That was
Mm.
like kind of the plan, right? Go to school, do all this stuff. And I would ask him, and he'd be like, "Oh, I just want to do business." And I was like, "Well, what does that mean?" He's like, "Yeah, like I just want to be in entrepreneurship." And I'm like, "Yeah, like you want to own a business and what? Like you got to go to school for that." Like that was like my mentality because it's all I knew.
Yeah.
So you're in
Yeah.
a very unique position, um, and it's very cool that you started so young.
I mean, I started 1 or 2 years ago. So I started when I was like 14 and a bit, like 14 and a half, and that's when I kind of found out about it. So,
Nice.
um, it was like I remember this moment. It's like in those cartoons, like a light bulb flashes on someone's head or
Yeah.
something. I had that exact moment in my mind, but it was like a little bit different. I was playing it. Have you ever played Valorant before? Have you ever heard of Valorant?
No, I'm not a big gaming dude.
Yeah, I was the biggest gamer. So I used to sit in my room all day and play games. And one day I was playing Valorant, and I was like pretty bad at it. So I was playing a game and I lost. And at that moment, I was like, dude, I'm not even like doing anything. I'm not contributing to anything. I was like, because I see my parents work so hard. They were in India and they
Yeah.
brought me to the US and gave me such a great opportunity. So I was like, dude, I gotta help him out somehow. And that's when it really all started. Plus, in
Yep.
like combination with like Andrew Tate at like the exact same time, his mindset, right? So
Yeah.
that mindset of work hard, like be disciplined, do all that stuff, it all just merged together and formed this. But that's kind
That's
of
awesome,
where I
dude.
am now.
And just remember, people are gonna like you're really young and you're putting yourself out there, right? Like you're doing the whole YouTube thing now. Like people are gonna make fun of you. People are gonna call you dumb. They're gonna bring your videos to school, call you stupid or whatever. They're gonna comment
Yeah.
and do all these things. It's gonna be normal. Just brush it off.
I mean, it happened a little bit already. I was like, I didn't even know
Yep.
it, which is the crazy part. So I had the Instagram that I was messaging you on.
Yeah.
I had a couple of reels on there from like copywriting and stuff,
Yeah.
and I had no clue anybody saw that. And then one day, like I overheard like some of my friends, or like not like my close friends, but like some people at school being like,
Yeah.
"Yo, it's like did you see those videos or something like that?" And I was like, "Yo, what?" Because I talked to them as well, and they didn't
Exactly.
mention anything about it, which was like, all right, but like I feel what you mean,
It's
and
gonna
it's just
happen.
like, yeah, I'm expecting it, but at this point, I'm just like, dude, I'm gonna do some great things, so I'm like, it's worth
A
it,
hundred
right?
percent. And dude,
Like,
to be honest with you, the odds of you talking to 1% of the people that you talk to now in the next 10, 15 years is slim. Like so
very
slim.
slim. Yeah,
So slim. So don't even sweat it. I think my girlfriend Alexandra talks to maybe one person. I talk to
I
maybe one person too, one or two ish
mean,
from like my high school time. And I'm 27 now, so um their opinions don't matter. And they're just if anything, they're just talking shit because they're envious. They're like, well, I'm not comfortable enough to put myself out there like that.
I mean,
Got me?
I do feel you,
And
dude.
you'd be surprised how many people take a chance on you just because you're so young and
That's what I've
they
noticed. Yeah,
wanna give it like they wanna give someone like you a chance. Like, dude, your appointment setting skills are pretty cool. They just need some practicing, some sharpening. Like I watched their video on appointment setting. Um, and I'm gonna post this on my YouTube. So like if you're watching, I'll tag your YouTube down below so they could go and like kind of follow your journey. But your appointment setting skills are really good. You just need to sound a little bit more confident. Like right now, you kind of sound like a little like if you're questioning yourself when you talk.
yeah. So it really comes from like me. I'm not saying it's like blame anyone else, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying it from like in general what I've seen, right? So I go on YouTube and I'll dig deep into the trenches, right? I'll find because no one teaches you how to cold call, bro. No one even wants
Correct.
to cold call.
Yeah.
No one teaches you it, right? So I'm always confused. Do I need to sound like the car salesman? Do I need to follow like some Jeremy Minor framework? Do I need to
Dude,
act
don't worry about any
questioning?
frameworks, nothing, dude. Just
Right.
grab a script and read the same script every single time. What happens is if we're switching the script every single time, we don't know what works and what doesn't work. So we need to
Exactly.
pick something, stick to it, figure out if it works. Hey, did it book me any appointments? Did we get on any conversations? Did we continue conversations? And then you'll start noticing like, oh, this is where I'm falling off on the script. Like this
Yeah.
is where I'm losing people.
Yeah, I feel like I'm even noticing that a little more because when I trade, it's like the same thing, right? Like I gotta use the same setup and I'm
Correct.
like, is it giving results? Is it not? So it's the same thing with this. And I've kind of honed down not even like a exact script, but
Yeah.
it's like I'm not sure you if you saw like my cold calling video, but it was like the same sort
I
of
did.
idea. I think I still have to refine it a little bit. And I think what did you say? I just have to like sound more confident
Yeah,
because
like there's a difference, right? So there's confidence
Mhm.
and there's conviction. And I'll give you uh the definition of the two. I want to give you the exact ones. Conviction. So confidence is the feeling or belief that one can rely or trust in something. And then conviction is uh here we go. A firmly held belief, right? So it's something that you truly believe in. And that has to be sounded in your voice. Like they have to hear that through you. One thing that I would recommend, like just going based off of your cold calling video, is write down the objections that you're getting.
okay,
So they're giving you objections all the time, right? Oh, I don't
yeah.
have time. Oh, I've done that in the past. Oh, I have someone that takes care of marketing. I don't need that right now. Like you're getting so many of those objections, and you need to have responses to those objections.
Mhm. So one of them that I've been facing a lot, right? And I found a way to slightly overcome it.
Yeah,
So it's like, oh, I have too much work, I don't need any more work right now. So
yeah,
what I've found is a way to kind of pre-handle that objection is the first thing I'll kind of ask them now, or like even if I leave a voicemail, I'll be like, hey, I was just wondering if you're still looking for more work, right? Because
yeah,
if I get them to promise or commit, like, yeah, I am looking for work, or yeah, what's up, then I can kind of go into it and be like, okay, great. So this is what I want to do, right? Because a lot of the times what I noticed is if I just go straight into it, or like I say, yes, a business page XYZ, they'll
yeah,
just say, hey, I'm booked out right now. I don't have time for more work, whatever it
yeah.
might be, right? But in reality, almost no one's going to say no to more business. All
Correct.
right.
9 times out of 10, that's going to be the case. There is going to be the case of people who just don't have enough crews, right? Like depending on who you're reaching out to,
Yeah.
especially in like a seasonal area like where you're at, right? Like I live in Florida, so it's different. Like people could do roofs all year round. People could do renovations. They could do demolition. They could do all these things year round, windows and doors. But it's really hard when you work in a seasonal industry, um, like roofing and or not when you live in a seasonal area rather. Um,
That's what I noticed too. Yeah.
yeah. So and you could use that as leverage, like, hey, you're booked out right now, but you might not be booked out in November.
Mhm.
So what if
That's
we
good.
start working on a system that can ensure that, in the colder months, you're still gaining business?
I, you know what? That's like the exact same thing two of these guys told me. So they told me like, hey, I'm packed on work right now. Call back in a slower season. And like one of them said,
Correct.
call back in the winter because that's when I have
Yeah.
less
Be like, hey,
work.
I'd love to call you back in the winter.
All right. So that's what I
Like
have. I
one
have
one
more.
thing that um so I used to work for Grant Cardone. I worked for him for about a year and 2 months. Um and I was like a media buyer, and then I made my way up to like the head of marketing for the agency, and then ran the marketing for Cardone Capital, which is his real estate syndication. But one thing that he teaches that's very important is called ADT. It's called agree, duplicate, transition. And what that means is whenever you get an objection like I don't have time, and the basis of this is you cannot start a relationship on the basis of a disagreement.
Okay.
So you never want to disagree with them, which is why agree is the first part of handling an objection, right? So if someone says like I don't have time, imagine you said, well, you answered the phone, so you must have time. Like that's a disagreement. So
Yeah.
the step by step is you agree first. You say, hey, of course you don't have time. You duplicate. So you can make like, hey, of course you don't have time. That's kind of like an agreeing and a duplication. I like to have fun with it because you're gonna be making dials, so you might as well have fun.
Yeah.
So I'll say something like, hey man, if you had time, you probably would have called me. And then
Yeah.
the transition is continuing your pitch. You don't say
Okay.
but. Like you replace but with and, even if it doesn't make sense in a sentence, right? So if you say, "Hey, I'm not interested," Ishwar, of course you're not interested. I haven't given you anything to be interested in. My
I
goal
think
on this call is to understand where you are and where you want to go and hopefully map out a plan in between to get you there.
feel like
If I could
I've
do
heard
that in
this
the next 30 days, whatever, and then you go into your pitch. But that's
yeah,
kind of the framework that you want to follow. So when you are facing these objections on the call, write down the objections. And when you write down the objections, you're going to be able to say, okay, great, let me apply the agreed duplicate transition framework to I gotta talk to my wife. Hey, of course you gotta talk to your wife. Hey, if your relationship is anything like my parents' relationship, you know, my mom knows that my dad is trying to solve this problem for the business, trying to do this, trying to do that, right? If she were to say no to one thing, what would it be? Would it be the product or would it be the price? So you could get
uh,
down to exactly what the issue is. But if you don't write down your objections, then you can't handle them. And then now you're running into the same issues every time. Oh, everybody's saying they're not interested, and I don't know what the fuck to say.
yeah, I agree. 'Cause that's what I keep feeling again and again, right? Like it's the same objections, but I just don't know how to handle it. So I think if I write them down,
That's all it is.
I can figure it out. I think I've heard this as well from Andy Elliott.
Yep.
I think I've heard like that similar wording to what you said with
Do
him
you know who
with
the
some
Macklin twins are?
I actually don't.
You don't? They work under Andy. They're his right hand guy. They helped the twins were the ones, Evan and Ian. They're the ones that kind of helped them. They were, I think, one of the first three employees were Evan and
Uh,
Ian. Long story short, the tiny home company that I work with in Texas that I mentioned sometimes in my videos,
yeah.
they work with Andy Elliott.
Oh, okay.
Like they go to his house for the masterminds, they do all that fun stuff. So they teach very similar things. You gotta agree. But you have to know what the objections are so you could then handle them. And then step two would be practice, right? And it's hard when you kind of practice with yourself. Like, I don't know if you have a buddy that's also trying to learn sales, but this would be very good for you guys to kind of go back and forth with each other. But being able to go back and forth and role play with each other, like, hey, Ishvar, I'm not interested. And then you go and you handle the objection. And then you guys go back and forth and you guys do that 15 minutes a day, you guys would be absolute killers.
Yeah. I
Let's
think
do
that
this.
yeah.
Let's um let's go over your scripts that you sent me over. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
that it's a tougher industry that you're gonna be playing in. I was
Yeah.
reading into it.
It's a different industry. I've never well, to be honest, I've never really written an ad script this much, but I've
Yeah.
never heard of an industry like this. And like I went on Facebook and like the Google Ads library and stuff. I tried
Yep.
looking up stuff related to this. There was like nothing. The only
Yeah.
it's because we're taking this in a completely different direction than almost all the other companies.
Yep. Do you see my screen?
I do, yeah.
Cool. So one thing that like this is a big managing expectations thing because this is a hard industry for you to target. Let me see if I could do something here real quick. Can I pull up a whiteboard? I think I
I
can.
think
Share
on
screen,
Zoom,
whiteboard.
right?
Got it. Yep. Let me know if you see the whiteboard.
Yep, I got it.
All right. So you're trying to target like this group of people
Right.
instead of saying, for example, like roofers, like think about how many homeowners there are. There's a ton of
Mhm.
homeowners. So you're trying to target now a very select group of people that fall under the commercial lighting. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's extremely difficult to target. I'm going to be honest with you. 2 years ago, I had a company reach out to me for this specific thing and I turned them down.
Oh my God.
But uh but there's a way around this, okay? And do you know what ad budget you guys are working with?
Um, I'm not sure, but I think he's pretty flexible. I'm assuming I feel like he'd at least be okay with 1,500 a month to start
Okay.
off, because what he told me was he hasn't done any sort of advertising at all. So like even his website page, he
Yeah.
doesn't have like a form to submit on there. It's not even like a
Okay.
landing page or anything. It just has like an about us and a case
Yeah, it's
study.
probably all referral business.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. And one thing that I'll mention really quick is I'm targeting the electricians because he also acts as a supplier, right? So he's acting as a supplier for electricians so that they can get the stock or materials that they buy at a lower price. Then he
Gotcha.
also does the commercial auditing. So I don't know if you
Cool.
picked up on that as well, but he does
Yeah.
like that two-in-one type of thing.
So question for you. This guy's obviously cool making videos.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're writing
So
scripts.
yeah, so basically he's actually the owner of my gym. I go to a
Nice.
gym and I've been chasing after him for like at least 4 or 5 months. And I was trying to get him initially to do gym marketing.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you know what, bro? I don't even want gym marketing. Just focus on this company. This one actually makes like more money. But
Interesting.
then I kind of snuck my way in, and now I kind of got both of those avenues going. But
Cool.
yeah, let's get back to this.
Yeah. So that's good to hear. So you're working with electricians, right? So I'm gonna put E here for electricians.
Yep.
Now, I think that your best bet is gonna be using the IBB framework that I went over in one of my videos.
Okay.
It's called intent-based branding, and essentially you're gonna have, a few value videos that are
Mhm.
going to build the audiences of electricians, and then you're gonna have, a couple direct response videos.
I remember you talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are going to be like engagement campaigns,
Mhm.
and then these are going to be like lead gen campaigns.
Okay.
And the goal is to create audiences of people who watched, 50. Go back and rewatch that video.
Mhm.
But like 50 to 100% of the videos, because in these value videos, he's going to be speaking to electricians. So if someone watches 50 to 100% of these videos, chances are that they are an electrician, because he's only going to be talking about things that electricians would know. And then you would want to use those audience to retarget them with the I'm going to put here D for direct response.
Okay.
Um Direct response videos and a lead gen campaign. So if his budget is like 1500, whoops, that was bad. How do I go back? Is there a back? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so if his budget's like 1500, I'd probably start with like a 50-50 split, just because you want to get him results. Like you
Yeah.
want to be trying to target cold audiences, even though you're still building these audiences, right?
Okay.
So your cold audiences could be like electricians, like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Usually I like to go, like, I'll type in like the number one thing that I want to hit. So like let's say electricians, and then I'll see what the suggestions are and then find the closest related to it.
Okay. Because
But I'd probably do a 50 split to begin with. Cold traffic and engagement.
so how do you actually get that engaged traffic? Like, I don't know if I can also market on here,
Yeah,
but
you
how do you
can.
get like how do I get like the guys that I get from this engagement campaign? How do I pull that audience and send them here? Is
Yeah.
this like some sort of retargeting
Yeah.
or
So you're gonna use something called custom audiences.
okay,
Custom audiences. And you are going to grab those custom audiences and let's see if I have something pulled up here that I could show you.
because I feel like so the value videos are going to warm them up, and then we're gonna send them the direct response because we're gonna warm them up and figure out who's actually watching.
Yeah. So look up custom audiences. I can't do it right now,
Mhm.
but it's like extremely easy to create a custom audience and then you're going to do it based off of content and then you're going to
Okay.
select I can't even type with this or write, but you're going to select these videos and then you could make audiences
Oh,
from people. Yeah, like so you could literally put in buckets, like create an audience of everybody who watched 50% of this video, 75% of this video, 100% of this video. So the reason why I told you about the managing expectations is because this strategy takes longer, but it pays dividends in the long run. Like it's way easier than if you just went straight cold and focused on straight cold because you're targeting a very niche audience.
okay.
That makes
That makes
sense.
sense. Yeah, yeah. So
So
I kind of have two questions here.
yeah,
So when you say this is gonna take longer, I know Facebook ads are quicker than other types of ad platforms. How long do you think this would take on average? Like I'm not expecting like a pin perfect answer, but like is it like kind of
yeah.
like weeks or months or like what are you kind of thinking?
So like this is probably gonna take like remember because not only are you
Oh,
only targeting electricians, you're like only targeting electricians in a specific radius. Because I'm sure
right.
he can't do work, 3 states down.
No, he's only in one state, I think.
Yeah.
One or two.
So maybe it's one state, or maybe it's like, hey, I'm only willing to travel 100 miles or 150 miles, whatever it might be. So, um, hmm, like based off of experience, probably like 30, like these audiences are gonna take probably like 30 to 45 days to like build to a point where you actually have substance to retarget. Because if the audience isn't big enough, then the money just won't spend. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I've experienced that in ads too.
Yeah.
Like
So,
one of the ads just gets way more than the other.
so yeah, I'd play probably like 30,
Oh,
45 days, like especially at 50-50. You're gonna build like a decent audience with this, maybe. And you never know, maybe the cold audience rips and you just start generating leads from the get.
so then
I would recommend building a landing page. Well, there's two avenues that you could go, right? You could go lead form, which your odds of getting quantity are higher, but the contact rates on lead forms are like
very low.
20%,
Yeah.
25%. So like think about it, out of 100 leads, you're probably going to get in contact with 20 people, which is like frustrating for obviously a business owner.
Yeah.
If you created a landing page on Go High Level, like your cost per lead is going to be higher. Your cost per lead is going to be higher, but the quality of the lead is also going to be higher. And like one
Yeah.
thing to know, like he's doing commercial buildings and he's supplying big projects. So like the margins are going to be or
Very.
the amount of this the sale is going to be bigger.
Yeah.
Right. So if he replaces all the lighting in a warehouse, let's say it's cost 30 grand, 15 grand, whatever. And I think you were about to say 30%.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say, um, he makes like a big percentage on like, cause he gets it from overseas somewhere, and he makes the money in selling their product, right?
Perfect.
So it's like what you said. He has a lot of margin.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So like, I think, cause even if I get him one customer, he's gonna like more than pay for like months worth of marketing,
Correct.
right? Because so I think I did build a landing page. I have experience building landing pages. I was just gonna ask you, like after this, if we
Yeah.
can talk about landing pages because I don't want to interrupt this.
Yeah. No, you're good. That this is pretty much all I have on this whiteboard, scenario. Like this is what I think is going to be the best. If you just went cold audience, then like it's going to be tough because you're really going to be fishing in a very small pond.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
I
it's
think
easier to get the people to raise their hand by watching the content. Like think about it. 75% video, 75% of the videos watched. Like those people are basically saying, "Hey, I'm an electrician. Show me an ad where I could submit my information."
I agree. Because same thing. I feel like I've this framework has been used on me. Are you familiar with like Charlie Morgan?
I've heard of them.
Yeah, so like every single ad I get on YouTube is just Charlie Morgan, and it's because I watched like one or two of his videos,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing. And I see I learned this from someone else too. When you do ads, especially longer form ads, you can I think you did this in your video too. You just change the hook alone, and then you keep the body like mostly the same,
Yeah.
right?
All the
So then you
time.
want to split test those.
Because what happens is with a lot of advertising is you don't retain the attention enough to get to the actual value of the video.
Okay.
So changing the hook allows you to figure out which one is gaining more, like getting more 3 second video views, right? Like in YouTube, it'd be a little bit different because your goal is to get them past the 15-second mark. Um, so you want to do all your qualifying, disqualifying within the first 15 seconds because you only pay if they get past that 15-second mark. So if you're, business funding, for example, like business funding, you need 700 credit score. You can't have any derogatory marks. You can't have any applications in the last 6 months. Like you'd want to get all that out in the first 15 seconds so that they won't even continue to watch the video. Now, if you run a credit repair company on the like where you could downsell them, like, hey, I can't get you the business funding, but let's get your credit right so that we can get you the business funding, then the qualifying and disqualifying doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense. Yeah.
this is going to be the strategy. Again, I'm recording this, so I'm going to post it on YouTube, and then like you could go back and review it. But
Yeah.
let's go over your uh your scripts.
Yeah. I will say this right now.
Yeah.
Um, I do have one of those meetings that I mentioned at like 4.
Okay. Yeah, we'll
So,
be out before that.
okay, yeah. I don't want to tell you like the last second or something.
You're good. You're good.
But I
Cool.
appreciate
So
this, man.
no worries, bro. Electricians, stop throwing away your profits, throwing money, the screen, yelling. Yes. You could get prop money on like Amazon or something too.
That's what I was thinking,
Mhm.
or like even like those prop like money guns or something, right?
Yeah. Look, materials are only getting more expensive and it's harder and harder to raise your prices. But what if you could make more money with one simple change to your business? Hey, I'm Vince and I specialize in helping electricians like you raise their profit margins by working less than they normally would. The process is simple. I supply you with the highest quality materials cheaper than what you're currently paying, so you can get everything you need in one place at a way lower price than you find at retailers. If you're ready to make more profit with your electrical business, hit the link down below. Submit your info. We'll schedule a call directly with me. On the call, show you exactly how everything works and see if we're a good fit to work together. I can't do this for everyone, so if you're tired of fluctuating prices eating into your profit margins, hit the link down below and we will talk. Yes, you'll be directly talking to me like that. The only part that I didn't like, this is a killer script. The only part that I didn't like was this part. Like,
Mhm.
I am Vincent. I specialize in helping electricians like you raise their profit margins. Uh, like I change this to while working less, right? Like
Okay,
not by working less.
okay.
While working less than they normally would. Um, or you could put something raise their profit margins
Mhm.
like
I was gonna do some sort of objection before, right? Yeah,
without changing your process.
I was
Like
gonna
something
do
like that.
I was gonna do originally like without sacrificing on quality, but I felt like that was something that'd be more customer targeted. Like I'm sure electricians care about quality, but I feel
Yeah.
like that's not as much of a priority to them as making money, right? Like I'm not
Yeah.
you know what I mean, right? Like in the
Yeah.
hierarchy of importance. So that's why I went with working less because
And also like things that they don't like changing their process, like just working in the industry, working in similar industries, right? Like home services and stuff like that. Like they don't like changing process. They don't like doing anything that's complicated, whatever it might be. So like without changing your process is a good one. Like while working less than they normally would is probably good too. Um, Raise your profit margins without working more. Like the closer you could get this to a third grade reading level, the better.
Yeah.
Like you want it to be extremely consumable. So like while working less than you normally would, I'd probably put like while uh
Use while
like
working less.
without working more, right? So like without working more or without hiring more crews or whatever it might be.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. The the one other thing is the reason that I kind of chose these points was I put
Yeah.
like a link all the way at the top, like a Quora,
Yeah. So
and I was digging onto that online, and then I was also just cold calling electricians around me, and
yeah.
I was asking them like, you know, if you know, I don't want to sell you anything, but I just want your help real quick, I promise, right? So I was asking them, I'm like, what's like your problems, this, that, this, that. Like I did some research and that this was one of like the things that I noticed. So not everyone had this problem. The electricians who did, they were like dealing with fluctuating prices and their profit margins would just get like erased one month and then the next month they'd be back and then the next month. And it's because like Lowe's and Home Depot, they have
yeah,
to
of
run around to
course.
different stores and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I went from that angle on this ad.
That's good.
But yeah,
That's good, dude. You did market research. So and I'm
thanks.
assuming that you did the same exact thing here. Electric
Yeah.
contractors, you're making a big mistake. It's good. Um,
I
look,
think I
materials. What's up?
So I think I used the same, like, I think the only thing I
The
changed in
same
this
body, you
script,
just changed the hook.
I changed that, but then on the next one, I think I changed it a little bit more. So on this one, it's like only like the first line is different, but
Yeah.
on the ne third script, I changed a little more.
One thing that I would try to do here is also change like what we're doing here. So like
Yeah.
try
I,
whiteboard with something written on it.
I was running out of ideas, so what I did is I just like put like a bunch of different things we could do,
Yeah.
and I was like, because I think you might have seen at the top, right? I put like the entertain, I put like a bunch
Yep.
of bullet points with like while watching your video, I was like, all right, what can I do? What can we actually do?
Yeah. Like also like location settings, right? Like being in a warehouse and like having maybe you're next to a pallet of lights or something. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
thinking of things.
Mhm.
All right, so let's go to three. If you're an electrician, I want you to make money. I like that. Look, retail stores are charging you crazy prices for materials, and the worst part is they're constantly getting more expensive, meaning there's less and less profit for you. But what if you could make more money with one simple change to your business? Hi, I'm Vance. I'm Vince. Excuse me. I am
I think it's
Vince.
the rest is the same.
Yeah, that's good, dude. Dude, these are some good ads.
Thank
I
you.
like them. Like these
I
are this is like very similar to something I would write.
I mean, I took inspiration from your ads. I was like on YouTube and like they added like the zoom feature, so I was like zooming in. I'm like, all right, what did he say? How can I make this like fit into kind of my thing? And it's
Yeah,
like
dude.
I wasn't like copying,
That's a
but I was
lot.
like, if I know this works, and I know
No,
he's
it's
really
good.
good,
Inspiration
might
is
as
good,
well.
dude. And I told you guys in my video that I wanted you to copy me.
Yeah.
So let's
And then yeah,
what's it called? Do you have any more questions?
I
And
mean,
then like short, quick ones, and then we'll jump into what's it called? OBS so you could try to help me fix my
yeah.
stupidish.
Yeah. So the only last thing I kind of want to ask you, because I know like I could obviously ask you like a bunch of technical questions, right? But
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
it's best if I just like learn those kind of myself or like ask you those like sometime else, right? But the one thing I had is I made a landing page and I just want to know your thoughts on it and
Share
see
your
if
screen.
that's yeah. So I'm pulling it up right now. That's why I'm like looking down a little bit.
Yeah, you're good.
So the funny thing is, right? I thought I broke my Go High level the first time I purchased my own subscription to it because
Yeah.
I was working with another client and they also had Go High level. And I'm not sure if you've had experience with this, but like the way you use emails on there is a little bit weird. So
Yes.
I thought I lost like my access to one of my clients' accounts because I used the same email to like buy it, for myself,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's like I I didn't know you could like pick it. So now I have like four different go high levels that I can pick from, quote unquote.
Yeah,
And I have a feeling it's only gonna go higher.
that's good.
Um, but yeah. All right, let me pull this up real quick.
You're good.
Okay. Oh, my mom's calling me. Give me 1 second. Just tell her. All right, so yeah. Share my screen. Yep. Okay. All right, let me know if this is working.
I see it.
Alrighty, cool. So this is called the electrician funnel, quote unquote, or not. Maybe. What happened here? This isn't. Let me see. Maybe I'll just go into a preview for now.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So this is just an arbitrary number I put in here for now.
Okay.
I've asked them for like a proper number or something, but this is the
Like that.
landing page I have. I'll show you the pop-up in 1 second, right? So
I
this is
would take off the exit intent pop up.
you take that off.
The
Okay,
reason why is
cool.
because most of your traffic is going to come from mobile, and oftentimes on go high level, the the exit intent pop up will pop up first on the mobile. So like instead of them seeing the landing page, they're just gonna have a pop up at the beginning. So I'd take that off at the
Oh,
yeah. Like I'd take off the exit intent and then have them click the partner with us.
okay. I think that's what I have set up now. So with the exit, this is the nice thing with this company. So you know the Cleveland Browns,
Yeah.
they actually worked with them to do their lighting.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so they have a really good case study. But they have like some weird technicalities about how they want to do it, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much of a deal I should make that. So I kind of used it like this. So I said like trusted by Ohio's biggest sports stadium. I did some bullet points over here, and then I'm gonna do like a picture of the owner for
Yep.
like a human connection, and then this is a picture of the stadium, right?
Nice. Go up real quick because the headline's gonna be the biggest.
Yeah, that's what I
So
was thinking.
when you like you see how you when I talk about above the fold is everything before the first scroll. So like this is going to be the most important thing. Like partner with us and make more money with better quality products, 22% cheaper and delivered faster. I like that. Now, what I want you to focus on is congruency, right? Like in
Yeah,
my videos, I talk about whatever we say in the ads is what we're going to say on the landing page and vice versa. So I like this. Now, if we go back to, let me pop your script up real quick on my end.
I might. Do I have it
Let
open?
me see real quick. I have it here.
Yeah, I might be able to pull it up too.
Like you talk about increasing profit margins.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. You talk about increasing profit margins and you talk about fluctuating prices a lot. So like
Um,
finding a way to either one, tie this into your script or tie
the script into this.
your script into this as your headline, right? So like partner with us and make more money with better quality products. Like you're not saying that in your advertisement.
Right.
So I would like partner with us and make more money with um like we talk about like without working more, without doing all this stuff or whatever it might be, or like without fluctuating prices from retail stores, like all that
Yeah.
stuff that
I
you
did. So I did like a little bit of that over here.
that's
I
good, but
see.
that's not
I
the
see
first
what you
thing that you
mean.
see, right? Like if
Yeah,
you
you're right.
close your eyes and open your eyes and look at the page, the first thing your eyes go to is going to be that headline. So you want
Yeah.
to make sure that that's as close as possible to your other stuff. But other than
Okay.
that, the page is sick. Like th- I love simple and ugly. That's like my bread and butter. I love simple and ugly pages. And this one's not ugly, but it's simple.
Mhm.
One thing that
So
I would recommend is I like rounded edged buttons. They
mhm.
just look better to the eyes. Like this looks like clip art, like where it says partner with us with the box. Like I'd
Yeah.
add a corner radius to that.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I was throwing this together yesterday because I wanted to at least just get something up with the
Dude, it's
copy on
sick.
it so that I could send it to them and be like, hey, is this stuff accurate as well? Because it's a new industry for me as well.
Yeah.
But I was even thinking for the headline to go from an angle like making this integrate into the headline. So it'd be like, don't waste your money on overpriced products, or like, don't let like fluctuating prices eat up your profit margins. Let us help you make more money, or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, it's
I
I
w-
think it's
I
just gonna
would
take good.
I would almost flip it. Like I'd want my
Mhm.
headline to be on top, my sub headline to be at the bottom, because like I said, when they click on this, their eyes are going to go to the big letters. So you want them to, like, for example, partner with us and make more money with better quality products, 22% cheaper and delivered faster. And then maybe in the sub headline say without adding more work on your plate or whatever it might be, right? Like tying in what we're saying on the ads, but under the bigger headline.
Yeah, because the way it was when I learned how to copyright and stuff as well was very similar. So it was like call out the audience at the top, and then big headline, and then like it was like the generic formula. Call them out, give them a benefit, say without
Correct.
XYZ, without pain. And
Yeah.
that was like the very basic formula. And I had another sub headline below this, but I was thinking about the fold thing, and that's why I removed it because I'm like, okay, it's not gonna stay above.
Yeah, just
So
flip those
I'm
two.
gonna
Put that sub headline at the bottom and then just make it tie into your ad copy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tie this in, and then maybe I'll make this handle an objection or something. I'll figure this
Correct.
out.
Yeah. And then
But
just
the goal is
shoot
just
me a
make it
DM.
congruent.
Shoot me a
Yeah.
DM when you do it. Just send me a screenshot.
All right. I'll do that. And
All right,
then
cool.
does any of this matter? I wasn't sure. It's like the last thing, like this
I
SEO
mean,
stuff
like,
on the
yes and no, right? Like it helps for SEO. So like it always helps to have it. Is it necessary? The answer is no. But it does help to have it. So I would do it.
all right. And then I should also have a privacy policy in terms of service linked somewhere on this page, right, for Facebook.
Say it again.
So I heard from some places that you want to have a privacy policy and like terms of
Yeah,
service
that would
connected to
help.
this page.
That would help out. I mean, it's
Okay.
not a deal breaker. Like I haven't had a lot of issues with it for certain companies, but it's better to have it than to not have it, that's for sure. And it
Okay.
could be just
All
a
right, cool
generic
then.
privacy policy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just like went online, looked up some privacy policy
Literally.
maker
Yeah,
and did it that way.
exactly.
Yeah, that's how it is. But yeah,
Cool.
I think that's all the questions I got, dude.
Awesome, bro. Let's jump into OBS.
OBS. Thank you so much, bro. Like,
No worries, dude. You know I got you. Before we jump into OBS, I'm gonna end the video here for the YouTube side. So like and subscribe, follow my man. I'm gonna put the link to his YouTube in the description and like and subscribe.